Good afternoon, Santa Clarita, and everyone listening in from around the world. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station. This is the Grieving Hour with Sharon Brubaker, and I'm so honored to have you guys back here. We have an amazing show scheduled for today. I know I've been posting online because I have this amazing guest, and you guys sent me some questions, and we're going to get those out today. Before I get to that, I want to remind everyone we are Facebook Live today. Please, please, please give us some love on that Facebook Live. If you'd like to ask some questions in the Facebook Live, we'll do our best to get them on the air as they're printed in. I have a handy assistant over here, and he'll give me those questions. Also, every question will be asked anonymously, just so you guys feel safe in getting that question to us. Today's title of the show is Teen Domestic Violence. And I have a beautiful guest. I'm going to introduce her in a second. Teens, if you're around the radio or you're around your Facebook, please jump on. I want to let you know, teens, that if your heart is broken, it could be from a situation that you're in, or it could be from something that's happened long ago. Regardless of the cause of your broken heart, we are not going to try to tell you how you feel because we don't know. At best we can tell you is that we know what it felt like when our broken heart occurred. Today, our show is on teen domestic violence. A few weeks ago, I was at Sir Optimus Group, which is an amazing group in the community. And while at that group, there was a guest speaker there from the Child and Family Center, actually from the domestic violence program of the Child and Family Center. And she was speaking on teen domestic violence. And I did not even know that that was a thing. I was so enamored with it and thought, oh my gosh, they have a name for it now. My guest today is Neela Karimza. Did I say that right?
You said it well. Thank you. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
And you are with the Domestic Violence Program. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with the program?
I've been with the program about a little over 8 months now. I've gone through the 40-hour training because they do that before you go in. And they train me very well to be able to go out and speak to the teens about any current issues that they have or they're going through. But I have been there for about 8 months as a youth prevention specialist. I also sometimes do the facilitating for the women, or not the women's group, the domestic violence curriculum Wednesday nights or Wednesday evenings.
That's really cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing for our community.
You.
How I'm going to be tying this into grief today is that we know that grief is a normal and natural reaction to a loss of any kind. Mm-hmm. So, Neela, you would agree with me that if someone is breaking up from a relationship, be it good, bad, strong, or weak, their heart's going to be broken from that, correct?
Definitely.
So that's why we want to get this word out today. But most importantly, I'm here for you, Santa Clarita, and for you teens. This has a name now. It didn't have a name before. Mm-hmm. We were going through, and I shared with Neela earlier that my sister actually shared with me. I said, hey, have you ever heard of teen domestic violence? And she said, yes, I was one of them. And she reminded me of a relationship that she had in her early teens where her boyfriend was kind of controlling things. Mm-hmm. Give me your best, to the best of your ability, the definition of really what a teen domestic violence relationship looks like.
So basically, it's the over-controlling behavior of the other partner. It's normally physical, sexual, emotional. It even includes stalking, and that has to do with either a current or former dating partner.
So, okay, but it doesn't have to be all of those.
Oh, no, definitely not. It's either or. They can just experience the emotional part. And it's funny because a lot of times they think that, oh, well, I'm not being abused because it's not physical. But emotional it hits hard. It really does. You know, you can get into depression with that. You can have anxiety coming out of that. So you don't have to have all of the above.
Right.
You can definitely be experiencing one or two of them.
Or one or two of them. Okay, so a teen is in a relationship. Mm-hmm. They start to experiencing one or two of the abuses, and then they don't know where to go. What's the first thing that they should do?
I say they should reach out to a trusted adult.
Okay.
Definitely reach out to a trusted adult, either if that's their parents or administrators or any other staff at school. If not, we are always here for them. Reach out to the resources that are out there for them. A lot of teens don't really realize how many resources are out there for them, and they have a lot coming in.
So I know for a fact, as a grief recovery specialist, that a lot of times, think depression and lack of eating, roller coaster of emotions can absolutely be coming from grief and from the broken heart, and they can be
Definitely.
misdiagnosed. And so we
Definitely.
know that they absolutely can have those things attached to them. Let me ask you a question though. You go out into the schools and you teach a program. How long has that program been out into the schools now?
I know that see, the thing with that is there was a bill that was passed in 2015. That bill now allows us to go into the health classes and to speak more about relationship issues and about, well, teen dating violence. And before it used to just be like the regular abstinence and just the sexual transmitted diseases. But now, thanks to this bill, we're able to walk into these schools and able to teach the adolescents and the youth about all these different types of things that they might experience. And then, of course, at the end, we provide them the resources where they can look for.
That was the part that was so exciting to me. It was so cool because I thought, you know what? You're standing there, right? You're talking about teen domestic violence. It might trigger something for them.
Definitely.
It might trigger a thought for them. Then it might be the first time that they've heard, this is not normal.
Yeah.
This is not supposed to be like that. I've been living like this and it's not normal. I wish we had a program like that for grief. That's going to be my goal. I'm going to get grief out into the schools because I feel like if we taught it early enough, people would understand
Yeah,
what it is.
definitely.
Okay, so let me ask you, what's the response been with the kids? Be
You know,
honest. Tell me the truth.
we have different kinds, to be honest with you. We have ones that like to challenge us with different kinds of scenarios. And
Right.
I love those. I love those challenges because I can counter them. And then they just kind of like stare at me like, oh, she's right. Because one thing is like, for example, somebody had mentioned that, oh, well, my girlfriend likes to check my whereabouts all the time. She likes to check my location. And I'm like, well, why is that? Because I don't, she's just gone through some cheating in her life, or, she's just worried that I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, but what does that say about the relationship you're in? Do you feel that that's a trusting relationship?
Right.
Do you feel that maybe you guys should kind of understand what really involves or what should be involved in a beautiful relationship, in a healthy relationship. So they kind of like step back and they try to give me all these different scenarios. And I love that. They have a lot of different types of questions like, well, is another common one is jealousy.
Yes.
Is there a good jealousy, I guess I would say. And there's no such thing as a good
Right.
jealousy.
Sorry, teens.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely sorry about that. But there is no such thing as somebody who's jealous for the right reasons. You have to have that trust and that honesty with one another. And to be able to have that into a relationship would be powerful. And if you don't, then what does that really say about your
Right,
relationship?
right.
Yeah.
This is such great information. Thank you so much
Of
again.
course.
Does social media play a big part in this?
It does. The youth are all over social media,
Right.
whether it's the Facebook or the Instagram or, and now it's definitely in YouTube. So they're all over that, and just to have it, it's kind of like they can look back on their own time,
Right.
not have to, because they're always so worried to have to talk to somebody else about
Right.
it. They're scared. They don't want to be judged. They don't want the bias. So they kind of look into social media
Right.
to see where they could get the help, maybe get some more information on it. So that's why we make sure that we are a part of social media so they can reach out to us.
So if I was a young teen and I was in your class and I wasn't really sure if my relationship was abusive, what advice would you give me if I walked up to you and said, I think I might be in an abusive relationship? What would you tell me to do? What would be the first thing?
The first thing I would ask is a little bit more detail
Okay.
on the relationship. What makes you think twice about your relationship? And then, of course, they bring in what's going to be said. And then I ask them, do you feel in your heart that that's a normal thing to go through, or that's the right thing to go through, or if it's healthy in your relationship, how does
Right.
that make you feel about it? So I kind of do a lot of motivational interviewing
Right.
that I've learned along the years of the my educational background. So I've learned to kind of get them in their minds to kind of really like steer it towards, what, it's not a good relationship.
Right.
Yeah,
So you go there. So let me ask you another question then.
definitely.
Is there a checklist or something that they can go over? I think on social media I did see quite a few checklists. So there are some of those. Where would they go for something like that?
There's a lot. I know if they are leaving, for example, a situation like that, I know we have some on our website with some things that they can look for. I know that there's other resources out there that can provide them that information, where that checklist could be, is your partner manipulating you after you say no?
Right.
For example, if whatever goes on with that,
Right.
is your partner constantly calling you names? Is your partner just being, mean, or you're using you as a joke in front of other people? And just certain checklists, we definitely go by them. We have like a whole examples of domestic violence or examples of abuse, basically. So we run down a whole physical part with them, the whole emotional part with them, and give them like little bits of, these are examples that you would see in a relationship, not in your relationship, but in an unhealthy relationship.
Is there ever any hope for the relationships themselves, or do you just work with the individual partners?
We just work with the individual partners, usually the victims or survivors of the dating violence.
Right. So they would each do their own work separately. That's how we kind of do it in grief recovery. Each person comes with their own broken heart, and we work with them separately because their own experience is their own experience. Exactly. So we work with them that way. Exactly. Now, I didn't find this online because I wanted to ask you the question, so I didn't look it up. But we know that every socioeconomic group suffers this, every race, right?
Yes, definitely.
Straight and LGBT community are affected by this, and girls do it to boys only. Sometimes I would think that we think that it's just boys doing it to girls, but it goes both ways, right?
It definitely does go both ways, and we do our very best to spread that when we are doing our presentations in the schools and wherever the youth are. We let them know that a lot of times we get men or boys feeling like, well, am I going to grow up to be like that, or what's going to happen? But it's definitely not the case. Girls do it as well. It's not just boys. And the reason why I feel like it's mainly focused it's mainly focused on girls is because boys are less likely to report. And that's why it's so important for them to report these things. Right. So that we can have more awareness spreading out, and it can open up maybe somebody else, another man or boy going through the same type of relationship, and it's going to open him up to say something.
What's going on, though, when the parents witness some of this stuff sometimes? I know that has happened where the parents are actually witnessing it. And I'm not even sure how to describe it. If they turn a blind eye or they just try to use it as a teaching experience and try to help their kids through it, but it can sometimes get deeper, correct?
Definitely. I know there is a stat where I believe it's about 75 to 85%. There was a study done. About 75 to 85% of parents actually said that they spoke to their kids about unhealthy relationships. And when they surveyed the kids said the complete opposite. They were not talked to at all about anything like that. So I feel like parents kind of have this thing where they think to themselves, you know what, my kid is not going through that. Right. I'm a great parent. Why would my kid be going through that? But it's because you're not talking about them. You might be an amazing mom or an amazing dad, but you need to have that sit down talk with them. It's so important.
And you need to use those specific words. Yeah. This is what happens in a violent relationship. Yeah. These are the traits. Just as a mother, I'm just thinking, like, if you had asked me about it, I would say this. No, my kid's too smart for that. Right. That's what I would think, right? Yeah. But you never know if the kid's going to go there, right? Yep. So what would a conversation look like between a parent and a child? What would I tell my daughter?
It also depends on the age.
Yes, of course.
Age group. Of course. So first thing, definitely make it age appropriate. If your daughter is a teenager, I would just sit down with your daughter and just kind of talk to her about what a healthy relationship consists of, what she should be feeling in her heart and, in her mind and her body, her soul, is she happy in this relationship or in any relationship? Basically what it entails. Are you happy with this person? Are you able to express yourself, appropriately or well with this person? Are you able to be you in front of this person? Does this person feel like they're controlling you, or, just little things like that? Just basically what a healthy relationship should look like to them.
And you could almost do some role play with them. Definitely. I would think if the kid is up to it, if the teen is up to it, get in there and role play. And I would do that a lot with my children. I know it's sometimes teens that seems, I'm not going to role play with my mom, but really letting them see what that's like, for sure. Mm-hmm. So, let me ask you this. Sure. If I know my friend is in an abusive relationship, how can I help her? And I would imagine So let me set this for you. I would imagine that if it was my girlfriend and I'm in high school, I wouldn't want to get involved. I wouldn't want to be picked on as being a rat or going against what she would want.
Yeah.
But what should I do as her best friend? What could I do?
I would help her find the resources. I would sit down with her and I would explain to her, I've been noticing this is going on in your relationship and it just doesn't seem right. It hurts me to see you that way. A lot of things we like to talk with the youth is I statements. You'd never go into a conversation attacking somebody else or saying like, you're always doing this and you're always, I notice that you're always, but it's always about how you feel. Like,
Right.
I feel hurt because you're my friend. I love you. I have that care and that feeling for you. So I don't want you to be in a hurting relationship or in a position where you're sad, and it makes me sad to see you that way. But I feel like when your partner is doing this, this, and this, it doesn't look good on that, and it looks like you're hurt.
Right.
So situations like you can have a sit down conversation like that, or also look into resources for them. Maybe they just don't know that there's resources out there. A lot of teens don't know that there are resources out there.
They don't know that the help is absolutely out there. What happens when you're either the parent or the best friend and you absolutely know that your child is in an abusive relationship or my best friend's in an abusive relationship and they're denying it? Because, as I shared with you earlier, my sister was telling me that things were absolutely happening to her and she was not telling my parents about them. She was keeping it quiet. So what happens when you are seeing it and witnessing it, but they're totally in denial? How far should a parent go? How far should a best friend go?
The hard part is if with teens, especially because of, their developmental stages, like you don't want to keep pushing them because the more you keep pushing them, they're going to stay away from it and they're going to completely block you off. The best thing to do is you can give them as much information as you can.
Yeah.
That's just the best way to go about it. At the end of the day, teens will learn through their own experiences, but you can be there to support them along the way. You can be there to be there for them and help them find any resources or help them find referrals for them, just so they can know, like, I get it. You don't probably want to listen right now, but when the time comes, just know I'm here. Just know I'm here. Here are the resources. Here's everything else that you need.
And it doesn't, okay, let me ask you this, because I know teens are hearing this and some of them are believing, oh my gosh, this is totally my relationship. He doesn't want me to even fill out applications for the college I want to go to. Yeah. I can't be on Facebook. He's monitoring my Facebook. He knows all my codes. Some kids are out there and they know that this is them for sure. Does it mean every single time that the relationship ends?
Not all the time.
Okay.
But if it does, if the relationship does end, it's okay.
Yes.
It's a normal feeling.
Yes.
We're going to go through it. We're going to go through heartbreak sometimes. It's okay. I know we've talked about this earlier. It's okay to have that love for the other person, for your partner, because in our hearts, you love them.
Right.
You had those feelings for him because your heart was pure. But unfortunately, because of maybe the life experience the partner had gone through, it made them feel a certain kind of way.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So it may be that you are in an abusive relationship. You are absolutely in love with your partner, but it's not a healthy relationship. And you have to examine for yourself whether that relationship is healthy.
Definitely.
Part of that is that you're going to start to feel some of your grieving. You'll be grieving through this while you're figuring it out. So I want to make a note about that. We're going to go to break, but just prior to that, we're going to do it 3 times today. Okay. I want to give out the phone number where people can reach out for help.
Okay, perfect.
So if you'll tell them the phone number, we have some amazing shoes here. And when we come back, guys, come back because we're going to talk about the shoes.
Yes.
But if you can give out the number.
Yes, definitely. Our number is 661-259-8175. There are 3 youth prevention specialists, so you can ask for any one of them and they will be happy to transfer you. And just in case, we have a 24-hour hotline. So anytime, whether it is 10 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, you are more than welcome to call and to speak to us about your experience. And that way we can help you with any resources. Maybe an idea just popped up, late at night. And that number is 661-259, and it would be HELP, which is 4357.
I'm also going to put these numbers in the Facebook Live. And just a reminder to everyone, that is completely confidential. We do not call anyone, tell anyone that you've called. And in the beginning, you don't even have to give your name. Is that correct?
No,
you can just talk it through. Okay, you're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, the Grief Recovery Hour with Sharon. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Daily Imprints is the premier one-stop shop for custom embroidery, screen printing, and promotional products in the Santa Clarita Valley. Owners Joe and Dana have provided KHTS with quality embroidered company shirts for over 3 years. If it's new business cards or promotional products you need to enhance your image, Daily Imprints is the choice for you. Located on Lyons Avenue, stop by or call today, 661-678-0508.
We know you've made some New Year's resolutions, and so did the Church on the Way Santa Clarita. The Church on the Way Santa Clarita is celebrating 10 years as a church, and they resolve to make the next decade even greater by continuing to love God, serve people, and change lives. Join them on Sundays at 8:30, 10, and 11:30 a.m., where there's something available for everyone. They can't wait to meet you. For more information about what's upcoming at the Church on the Way Santa Clarita in 2018, visit tcotwsc.org.
Santa Clarita Valley has a long history of safe, reliable water service. SCV Water is dedicated to increasing efficiencies, protecting our vital resources, and improving their customers' experiences. That's you. Meet them at their new home on the web at yourscvwater.com. There, you can find the latest news, rebates, and much more. That's yourscvwater.com. They can't wait to serve you.
There's only one Santa Clarita plastic surgeon who is Yale trained and board certified, Dr. Justin Heller.
To be a board certified plastic surgeon like myself, what that truly entails is about 5 to 7 years of honed surgical training in reconstructive, all areas, as well as aesthetics, which means your facelifts, your breast augmentations, your body contouring, true training, and board certification. In fact, that's the only board certified area that can be achieved in this realm.
Dr. Justin Heller, warm, understanding, always available for guidance because he's local. HellerPlasticSurgery.com.
Aloha, friends! Go check out Honu Coffee, home of the best cold brew coffee. What makes their coffee special is how their organic coffee beans are infused with nitrogen to create a smooth and delicious cup of coffee. You'll also find traditional bold coffees and island-inspired signature drinks. They're the perfect place to catch up with friends or just relax with your favorite cup of joe. Honu Coffee on Lyons and Walnut in New Home. Stop by and say aloha.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome back, Santa Clarita, and everyone listening in from around the world. You are back at KHTS, your hometown station. You are listening to the Grieving Hour with Sharon. I'm so glad that you guys joined us back here. We have a special show today, and I'm just loving this topic because we're helping all the teens in Santa Clarita and everywhere who are chiming in. We are talking about teen domestic violence today. We are Facebook Live, guys, so if you have any questions, please type them in the box, and I will try to get them answered on the show completely confidentially without stating your name. However, if I can't get them answered during the show, I will answer them after. And all the resources, teens, will be listed in that face page as well. My kids are going to hate that I said that because I say it all the time. They're going to be like, Mom, you embarrassed us. Today, back with us right now is Neela with the Domestic Violence Program of the Child and Family Center in Santa Clarita. You actually teach a program where you actually go into the schools and you are bringing awareness to teen domestic violence in the school systems around Santa Clarita. Do you go outside of Santa Clarita?
We'd like to stay within Santa Clarita,
Okay.
but anytime that there are other programs or schools out there, they can definitely reach out to us and see what we can do for them.
Awesome. Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. That's
definitely,
really
yeah.
cool. So just prior to the show, we were talking about identifying what to me teen domestic violence is and how a teen could actually tell if it was absolutely happening to them. I want to ask you a question about that. How does it begin? How do these teens know to start this? What are we teaching them about that? Where are they getting these things from? How do they know to be so controlling on social media? Control my girlfriend, control my boyfriend, pick what clothes he wears, who he can hang out with. Where are we learning this stuff?
A lot of this is definitely learned. I like the word that you used. It's definitely learned. learn this through their experiences, either from their parents, maybe their parents are doing it, their surrounding, maybe family members or friends are doing it. So they see these things and they think it's okay to do, or they think they normalize it. They think it's a normal thing to do in a dating relationship, because they don't, teens don't really have the experiences or the skills set into understanding what a relationship is.
Right.
So they look at the outside kind of relationships to give them examples of, to learn
Right.
from, but they don't realize, they're still developing. So they don't realize maybe what they're learning is not right. Some of the, we also teach that some of these, some of the other parts, or the other person are very, they've gone through a lot in their lives, abuse probably themselves. So they feel, a parent is supposed to protect you and
Right.
save you and love you. So they feel like, well, my parent does, my parent's kind of abusive, but they say they love me. So they have that mixed, feeling and that mixed understanding of what really is a healthy relationship, I
Right.
feel.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. So a lot of times it can be things that they've seen and things that they've seen on television or whatever.
I was actually, definitely
or things
media.
that it feels normal to them.
Yeah.
It feels like this is what it should be like, when in actuality, it could be that they're living in a home. And parents, I want you to understand, I'm not saying just because your teen is in an abusive relationship doesn't mean that they've absolutely witnessed this at home.
Yeah, definitely not.
It could feel like love to them.
Yeah.
It could feel like being
very
wanted,
true,
and
yeah.
they're okay with that. There's a bullying aspect to it. We shared that you're actually going even younger, and instead of talking about domestic violence, you're actually talking about bullying.
Yes, definitely. We're now going into the elementaries, and of course, we keep all our presentations age appropriate.
Right.
We're definitely going into the elementaries and just talking to these kids about recognizing bullying and then cyberbullying, because, like I mentioned earlier, all these kids are on YouTube right now. So we help them recognize these things, and we teach them, what it's like or what the importance of being an upstander is, how to treat somebody else, like, a good way, and just the basics with the elementary school kids.
This is so cool. It's so exciting. It's a tough subject, everybody. It's such a tough subject. So is grief.
Yes,
Grief
definitely.
is a tough subject. People don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
My friend Alex Urbina teases me all the time that I don't have very many friends because of what I talk about all the time. But you and I have such important roles in the community of really getting this word out and really sharing it and changing lives.
Yes.
One heart at a time.
Yes.
I just want to quickly share that if you are in a domestic violence situation and you are a teen, what that grief may feel like is a roller coaster of emotions, change in eating habits, really not wanting to eat, a feeling of being depressed, less than happy, wanting to sleep all the time, probably not wanting to go to school, not wanting to be on social media, or constantly consumed with what your partner is doing and being fearful of where he's at and what's going to be the next step. So I just want to throw that out there for you guys from a grieving aspect. We have some tennis shoes here, and I want you to explain these to me. These were some traveling shoes. Tell me how this came about.
Yeah, well, so February is National Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, and what we do is we had 4 stories from teenagers in our community. One was from our shelter, so she doesn't reside in this community, but we had 4 adolescents, and basically what happened is we had an artist transcribe their stories into these shoes,
Right.
and just basically give an example to students, maybe visually,
Right.
because we talk a lot about it, and then we show them with the presentations, but hey, here are the actual shoes, here are the actual people going through this. So what we like to do is we like to talk to them about that. Their experiences are in the shoes, and if you look around, she's gone through, just
Looks like drug abuse.
definitely. She had a troubled household.
A troubled
Yeah,
household.
So,
and this childhood is
It's
a
just
little
a
bit
lonely-
representing her
just a lonely,
childhood.
a lonely
And I'm going
child.
to show you here. It's so powerful. So what happened here is that the teen told their story to the artist, and then the artist transcribed their story. Or
for
you guys
confidential,
gave it?
yeah,
Yes, you
for
gave their
confidential
story.
reasons, they gave us the stories,
Okay.
and then we just only gave the stories to the artist.
To the artist.
And what he did is he visualized what he thought, what he felt was what they experienced, and he put the key points of what they experienced into these shoes.
You guys, you have to understand that the stories are so powerfully told on these shoes. You can literally, just by holding them in your hand and seeing them, you know what the person was going through. But these are a very special pair of shoes.
Yes.
Because they actually have a white flower in them. Tell me a little bit about these shoes.
They are very special. We had, like I said, one of the teens is not from our community, but she did come into our shelter. She did reach out for help. She did come into our shelter, and she wasn't able to find transitional home. So what she had to do in that moment was she decided to go back to. We call this a danger zone. Danger zone is the city where the abuse normally occurred. So she went back, and the abuser found her, and they basically beat her up to death. Yeah, she was murdered by her abuser.
And her name was? Oh, you can't say.
Yeah,
but even with the shoes. Okay,
case,
awesome, perfect,
just in case,
great,
for confidentiality reasons.
Sorry, I thought we were telling that in part of the story. So with the shoes, they traveled all over. You guys did some amazing things this month.
Yes.
You took them to all different events.
Yes.
You also had signs that correlated with the shoes telling parts of their story as well, which
yes,
is kind of
we had
cool.
little thought bubbles.
Yeah, little thought bubbles with little statements that they heard along the way, right? And they went along with the shoes. The month is over.
Yeah.
And domestic violence month is over, and you guys are trying to decide what to do with the shoes, which is kind of cool. You and I talked about it.
Yeah.
So some things have been thrown around. So share a little bit about that.
First, I want to explain the color of the thing. So
Go ahead.
February, the National Teen Dating Violence Awareness, it is orange. So we have the orange, and that's why we have the white flowers. We do our best to keep her experience alive, just to empower somebody else, or awareness for somebody else to kind of see that. And then I wanted to go back to
where they're going to go. What are we going to do with the shoes?
Definitely. So what we would see, we don't know. We're thinking about either keeping them and then hopefully bringing them back next year, and then, presenting them again, because there's going to be a whole nother group of teens, another generation to talk to. And it's either going to be that, or we are planning to see if we can maybe auction them out. Everything is still kind of in the works, so we still don't know yet. But I'm hoping to kind of keep them and spread the awareness as the years go by, because they're so beautiful, and they're so, they're
powerful.
They're so powerful.
I literally, just holding one in the hand, you can see what the person experienced, even at a very young age.
And
go ahead.
I was going to say, it makes it more personal, because it's not just a white shoe that's, like art on it. It's somebody's life experience in your hands.
Yes.
It's somebody's, experience that they went through in their unfortunately horrible relationship. And, sometimes when we take these to the schools, the kids are like, oh, like, damn, darn, like that's so, like, not
so
something.
sad.
Yeah. But it's like, we like to let them know that they, it's more of an empowerment and awareness, take in from this life experience, and just really look into, take it in for yourself in the future. Because we don't want them to look at it like some kind of a downer. We want them to see it as...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And especially because I think with teens, we have this feeling that it's never going to happen to me, or that's not me, or that can't happen to me. But holding these in your hand, you really get a different... It's emotional. You get emotionally tied to them.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how you feel like you really get a pull at your heart. Like when I'm looking at these shoes, I'm like, oh my gosh. And so that is just so cool. Yeah. One of the things that happens is that the abuser makes a lot of promises to change. Is that correct?
Yes,
so
definitely.
that I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to go on your social media. What's the advice you give to a teen that's getting a lot of those promises? That happens in adult.
That definitely happens in
domestic violence
that
as well.
That definitely does. That's a very common behavior from a batter or an abuser. They always like to make it feel like, you know what, I'm sorry, you either provoked me.
Right.
Or, you know what, I was just really stressed out. I promise I won't do it again. Here's some flowers. Here's a nice bag. Or here's this. Or here's that. Whatever they feel that their partner is going to be happy on. And I promise I won't do it again. But the thing is, they need to understand that it could happen again.
Right.
A lot of the abusers like to see kind of how far they can get. So if they come in, and they're just like, oh, I'm sorry, and then you forgive them that time,
Right.
it could happen again.
Yes,
It
absolutely.
could definitely happen again. We call this the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
We go into the honeymoon phase, and then from the honeymoon phase, it gets calm a little bit. And then we're just like, okay, maybe the promise is real.
Right.
Maybe this is actually going good, but it usually doesn't. And then it goes back into the tension building. And then from the tension building, we're feeling like we're walking on eggshells. And it's this whole cycle that we also like to talk to the teens about, that goes on into it.
What if they come to you, if I were a teen and I came to you and I said, I don't know how to break up with him. I don't know how to break it off. Is that part of your program?
We like to share experiences rather
Yes.
than give advice, because we're not really allowed to give
Exactly.
advice like that.
So tell me what that means. I am going to share an experience. You're going to share an experience with me. I do that a lot in my grief work. So my experience, how I do it in my grief work is I share my grieving stories.
Mm-hmm.
I share what it was like for me when my heart was broken. I share what it was like for me when my nephew Austin died and what I felt like. And by doing that, I'm actually letting them know what it felt like for me.
Yeah.
So you're sort of doing the same thing for them if they came to you and said, hey, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you share an experience of
Of basically maybe what we've gone through in our
Right.
dating experience, because a lot of the people that either volunteer or work at these kinds of things are people who've also experienced it. So we know how to speak to people about overcoming issues like this. So we do offer a little bit of advice from, or not advice, I'm sorry, experiences from what we've
Right.
gone through or what we've seen other people go through.
Right.
Just let them know, because like we mentioned earlier, these teens don't come with experiences.
Yeah.
They don't come with guidance as much as
Yeah.
they feel that they do. So that's what we're there for, to provide that for them, and we kind of do our best with that. We're hoping in sharing experiences, they can really kind of focus and take whatever key points they can to get from it.
In the program that you're teaching, is there actually written portions of it, or you just talk? And it's an 8-week program, I think she said, right?
It is I believe you're talking about the
one you're doing in the school.
Oh yes, the
Okay.
In Touch with Teens.
Yeah.
It's a Common Core curriculum, or it values the
Okay.
California Common Core. What it is we go into the schools and we have this curriculum. We talk about all the different types of I guess the abuse that they would go through, or not just abuse, but I believe it's called In Touch. It's In Touch with Teens, and it's
Okay.
an evidence-based curriculum. Sorry.
Perfect. No, you're fine.
Yeah. So we do base it basically on that curriculum, and we talk to the teens about not just dating violence. We definitely talk to them about peace over violence, how to be, like I mentioned earlier, an upstander versus a bystander, how the media plays a role
Oh, yeah.
in what we
Huge.
feel gender is, or what gender involves.
Right.
So we definitely talk about more along those lines.
Oh, that's really cool. That's totally cool. So if I'm a young girl and I have a friend, or I'm a young guy, and my significant other or boyfriend or girlfriend is really posting mean things online, what's the advice you give to them? And do you advise them to respond back, or they're just like saying mean things or sharing personal things online? You know that having the social media aspect to a relationship is crazy right now.
It is. If they do see something like that, I wouldn't get involved in it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like feeding into it more.
Yeah.
So I would say I would talk to, like I mentioned earlier, a trusted adult,
Right.
a faculty, or I'm sorry, administrator, or like a faculty member at school, or your parents, and see what your options are for something like that.
Right.
But I wouldn't feed into it. Definitely not.
And not respond back to
Not
it.
at all.
Not say
No.
something mean in association
Oh,
with
definitely
that.
because it doesn't stop. That goes back into the cycle. And if they're trying to get your reaction
Yes.
out of it, and you give in that reaction,
Right.
you're giving them basically what they want. So handling it a way where you get to talk to a trusted adult and see what are my options of what I can do, because I need this to stop.
Right, exactly. Ultimately, and I think what we're all saying here is ultimately it's the teen's decision
Yeah.
to say when is when, and we are the supporting staff and friends and family, and we're there guiding them and leading them through this journey,
Yeah, we are.
and helping them to learn. And we're
Yeah.
learning about ourselves as well.
Yeah.
For sure. We're
Yeah.
definitely going to that part of it. One of the things that learned online is that at some times when it gets really bad, a restraining order is necessary.
Oh, yes.
And do you give guidance on that, or them knowing when the restraining, or is that coming down from the parents?
I believe it's at a certain age where you can do a restraining order. But we definitely help out where we give them advice on our advice, I believe. Yes. We have somebody to give them advice on what their steps are that they would need to take. We also have somebody from our program inside the sheriff's station. So to help them do any restraining orders if necessary, because it'll help them save their lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
And make them feel safer and go into that area. Now, a question for you is, if they don't want to go that far, can the parents force that? Or does it have to come from the
It would
the
have
teen?
to come from the teens.
Okay.
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure about that one. It would have to probably come from the teens. I mean, if the parents, I'm not sure if maybe an option would be that the parents wouldn't want that individual around the family altogether.
Right.
They can maybe go see what their options are for that too.
Are there safe teachers or counselors at school that they know, okay, this is a safe, or is it that they need to feel it in their heart? They need to feel that trusted relationship in their heart and know that they can go to that person.
It would be, see, this is where I like to talk about the faculty members and the administrations. And
great.
It's so important to really be involved with the students.
Yes.
It's so important because each student is their own unique individual person.
Right.
So you want to make sure to accommodate that.
Yeah.
You want to make sure to show that the teens can trust you, that you are there for them. So it would be, of course, important. A teen's not going to walk up to somebody that they barely, have any kind of relationship for and then start expressing their personal life to that person. They're not going to do that. So they're going to go to somebody that they feel a connection with. So it's really important for anybody who works in the schools or anybody who works with the youth in general to give that open space to them, that open vibe. I go with vibes.
Yeah.
You have to give that open vibe with them so that they are happy to come to you and able to share with you.
Absolutely. Okay, so on our next segment, that's what we're going to get into. Faculty, friends, and supporting staff, what they can do to help, and listening to the team. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station. This is the Grieving Hour with Sharon.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Team training, life-changing. F45 Training Stevenson Ranch on Lyons Avenue, just east of Wiley Canyon. At F45, they have fun. They've created their very own way of functional training, so you can train the way you move in everyday life. The F45 style combines both strength and conditioning. Working with friends, you can be assured of results, not boredom. Download the F45 app today. Select Stevenson Ranch in the 2-week trial and book into classes right away. F45 Training Stevenson Ranch. Come join the family.
Remember when Mom would bake cookies and you'd sneak some raw cookie dough? Raw cookie dough is the best, and now you can get safe-to-eat raw cookie dough at Doughlicious Sweets and Treats at the Westfield Town Center Mall. Doughlicious Sweets and Treats raw cookie dough comes in several flavors like birthday cake, sugar cookie, unicorn, and everyone's favorite chocolate chip. Not into the raw stuff? No worries. You can also get freshly baked cookies or buy the dough to bake yourself. Doughlicious Sweets and Treats near JCPenney's in the mall.
In Santa Clarita, we always find a way to be generous to the community. We give time, money, muscle, ideas, whatever we can, when we can. But without careful planning, such generosity can quickly drain the bank.
At Thrivent Financial, Jeff and Melanie Meyer do more than help you manage your finances. They help you plan for a generous lifestyle so you have enough for yourself and enough to share. Take the first step toward a generous financial future. Call Jeff and Melanie Meyer at 661-799-0230. That's 799-0230.
If you're in danger of losing your home to foreclosure, you need an expert. Hi, I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I've helped hundreds of Santa Clarita residents save their homes completely for free. I've got just over 20 years experience and a loan modification success rate of over 80%. I can negotiate better terms with your bank and I can save your home from foreclosure. And again, we do this completely for free. So if you're in any danger, please call me today at 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty, and I'll be happy to help you save your home for free.
The Las Vegas shooting created awareness for all of us. Awareness to upgrade security at concerts, awareness for clearly marked exit signs, awareness on how to evacuate safely, and awareness to have tighter hotel security. The law offices of Owen Patterson Owen are working diligently with Las Vegas victims to prevent future tragedies from occurring, as well as protecting the rights of Las Vegas victims to receive financial assistance for their ordeal. If you know someone impacted by the shooting, visit opolaw.com.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back, Santa Clarita, and all our friends listening in from around the world. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station. Right here, you are listening to the Grieving Hour with Sharon. My name is Sharon Brubaker, and I'm a certified grief recovery specialist. And I have an amazing guest today. This is Neela, and she's with Teen Domestic Violence and the Children Family Center.
Yeah, the Domestic Violence Program.
I look for
the
program.
Child
We're trying to
Family
get
Center.
that whole sentence
It's okay.
in there.
Yeah, we're still working on it.
Guys, we've been having an amazing conversation about teen domestic violence and recognizing it in our children, and for our teens to absolutely recognize it in themselves. What I love about this so much is that it absolutely has a name now, and that we're actually in the schools. So Jerry Brown, the governor, allotted some money to go into the programs that were already there. Mm-hmm. So we're not only just teaching safe sex and drug prevention, we're now also teaching about teen domestic violence, which is such a needed program.
Definitely.
And now you're even going lower, even as low as 9, and you're teaching about bullying.
Yes, bullying, cyberbullying, how to be an upstander, bystander, the importance of that, and breaking the cycle of violence, pretty much.
That's so cool. Yeah. We are Facebook Live, friends. So if you do have a question, please feel free to type it in the Facebook Live. If I don't get a chance to answer them here on the air, we will answer them after the show. And in the box below the Facebook Live, I will also be putting the phone numbers and all the contact information for you teens out there that are listening to the show. One of the things we were talking about just before the break was setting up a safe place so that teens can absolutely have a place to go and talk. Mm-hmm. As a grief recovery specialist, many times we know that these teens are absolutely grieving. They could be grieving the loss of the breakup of their romantic relationship. They could be grieving the awareness that their relationship is not as happy as they thought it was, right? Yeah. Or the awareness that they're absolutely in a domestic relationship. That can cause a grieving experience. Definitely. For me, as a grief recovery specialist, this is what I want to say to the faculty, and you're going to chime in with this a little bit. If someone comes to you and they want to share something very personal, I try to give them that space to say whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And I talk a lot on this show about being a heart with ears. So if you can just imagine a big giant heart with 2 big ears on the end of it, I'm going to try and give you as much love and energy as I can. And I'm only going to listen. Yeah. Never once in there did I say that I got a big mouth and I'm going to be talking back, right? Yep. I'm literally just going to be listening. I think the other thing that's real important, you and I were talking about this, is to stay calm, not freak out. Not to make facial expressions, and make it so safe that the kid can share whatever they want. Definitely. The kid, the teen, the woman, the adult, the man, whoever they are. Tell me a little bit about that.
I feel like people in general, when they're in a situation like that, they're looking for body language to let them know, like, is this right? Should I even be here? Like, should I share this? Is this person okay to share this with? So they always look at body language. So I'm glad you mentioned facial expressions. Body language is huge. You know, it's huge in a way where it lets the other person know that this is a comfortable space,
Right.
to go ahead and share. A lot of things that I feel other administrators also need to learn is we've all come from different walks of life,
Right.
different life experiences, different cultural, traditional backgrounds.
Yes.
So it's important to recognize these things. Sometimes you're going to hear something that's completely like you haven't probably even heard this.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's not okay to just look at them and just maybe raise an eyebrow or just look at them a certain way. They're already feeling judged. They're judging themselves. You know, they would love for the administrator to, or the person that they're trusting to speaking with, to just create that open space for them.
One of the things I also teach in grief recovery is that we don't touch the person that's sharing.
Mm-hmm.
We give them the space that they need. Yeah. We allow them to do whatever emotions are going to come up at that moment.
Yeah.
So if they cry, tears are okay.
Yes.
Everyone, I want people to know tears are okay. Tears are the sign of our broken heart just coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Let those tears out. We also, as grief recovery specialists, don't go running out, pulling out a bunch of tissue and handing that tissue. I will lean in a little bit. Sometimes when people are talking, I just lean in just a little bit. The other thing is I'll just say, ouch. Or I just put my hand over my heart, letting them know I heard them and that my heart is hurting with yours. I definitely will do that. Yeah. Just letting them know that I hear them, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Letting them know they're being heard.
And without judgment and saying something back, right?
Yes.
If the kids don't have, teens do not have, I keep saying kids, sorry guys, teens do not have a safe place to talk, what's going to happen?
If they don't, I feel like they're just going to go into their life. They're going to experience it themselves. They're not going to go into what they're experiencing with a knowledge background or base set on, you know, is this healthy? Is this okay? And that, you know, it could go wrong.
Yeah.
You know, that's why it's so important to go out into these schools and to even talk as parents, just talk to your kids about, or your teens, your kids about what, you know, a healthy relationship consists of, and that grieving is normal.
Yes.
You know, the grieving is a normal feeling that you're going to have.
Yeah.
And it's okay to feel it.
Yeah.
And it's okay to cry about it.
Yes.
And it's okay to talk about it.
Right.
I feel like parents in general should promote a lot of that. You know, ask questions. Let them know that it's okay to ask as many questions as you want. There's no such thing as an awkward or weird question. It's life. We're just learning this thing called life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing, parents. If we do not give our kids a safe place to talk and our teens a safe place to talk, then they're going to go try to get the advice from another teen who may be going through the same thing, and then they're going to try to fix it.
Exactly.
Me as a parent, I would much rather that conversation come to me. We are running out of time on our show, but before we end, I want to just say that parents, please, and teacher and faculty, please be there for your children.
Yes.
Listen to them. Do not try to fix it.
No.
Allow them the place to try to say what they have to say, even the ugly. And by all means, keep what they say confidential. How important is that?
That's very important. And it's also important to understand it's a process.
Yes.
Grieving is a process. It's not like how you said, it's not just a get it and fix it thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to happen on their own time.
Yeah.
You're just there to provide that support for them.
Yes.
And help them along their journey.
Right. And they're going to come back over and over again.
Yeah.
And when you set that safe space for them, they're going to be the one that you come to. And you may be the one that you didn't even think they would come to. You might be the biology teacher.
Right.
We have 1 minute left. And before we leave the show, I want you to give out the number again.
Definitely,
so teens know where to reach you.
Yes, please reach us at 661-259-8175. Our 24-hour hotline is 661-259-HELP. That's 4357.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening today. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, and you're listening to the Grieving Hour with Sharon Brubaker.